Today's lesson is what not to do in Lyon and what to try instead. Hi, I'm Kiki.
I'm Mike.
And today we are continuing our travels in the beautiful town of Lyon.
That's right, one of France's oldest towns with a great culinary or food history. And as we learned yesterday, it's also a popular weekend getaway destination for people from all over France. Probably in Germany they can drive in there. And of course, tourists all the time. And we learned of a few good places to go. The Vieux Lyon district, that's the old town. You can go cafe hopping and wander the maze of streets. And once you get hungry, head for a bouchon.
A bouchon, traditional home-cooked Lyonnais food.
Yum, yum, yum.
So today we have 2 more travel tips. So let's listen to the first part.
3. Miss the museums. With art ranging from Egyptian antiquities to 20th century paintings, Lyon's Museum of Fine Arts is one of the city's top attractions. It's a great spot, but there are better ways for culture fans to enjoy the city. Many local artists run special tours helping travelers get a deeper understanding of Lyon's artistic side. You can create your own painting as you wander the streets, frame the city through your camera, or receive a private silk printing demonstration. Whichever experience you pick, you're likely to return home with some one-of-a-kind creative souvenirs.
大家好，第一部分我们来介绍形容词 artistic， 它的意思是艺术家的，或是富有艺术性的，具有艺术天赋的。例如 Carlos's artistic ability was obvious from a young age. Carlos 的艺术天赋从小就很明显。又或者说 In my opinion, this painting is a bold artistic statement. 就我来看，这幅画是个大胆的艺术表现。接下来介绍 frame 这个动词，意思是把图片装框或是塑造、建构的意思。例如 The bedroom window framed a small square of dark blue sky. 那个卧室的窗户框住了一小块深蓝色的天空。又或者说The politician tried to frame his argument so that he would easily win the debate. 该政治家试图塑造他的论点，以便轻松赢得辩论。下一个介绍 souvenir 这个单字，它是名词，表示纪念品或是伴手礼。例如 Jamie got everyone souvenirs from her trip to Hawaii. Jamie 去夏威夷的旅行中买了纪念品送每个人。或是 I ended up buying souvenirs at the airport. 我最后在机场买了纪念品。
Welcome back. Let's listen to our first tip for today, which is actually our third tip of the article, which is miss the museums.
Miss the museums?
What?
I like museums.
Me too. And what does that mean anyway?
I need somewhere to walk around to work off all that bouchon food I had last night.
Okay, and I don't really want to miss the museums because we know that French culture, there's so much history and things. So are we really going to skip out on the museums?
I guess you can still see a museum, but it's kind of saying more like, don't only see the museums, right? There are other cool places for art and culture.
Okay, so let's check it out. What are we doing first?
All right, what it says, with art ranging from Egyptian antiquities to 20th century paintings, Lyon's Museum of Fine Arts is one of the city's top attractions. Sounds great. Sounds like a wonderful museum. They have a wide range of different types of art. And so when we say art ranging from, we're giving you the range, the variety, all the different types they have. You could say, this is the city's biggest buffet with food ranging from pizza to pasta to sushi to nyoromian or something like that. We're just kind of showing you what a vast choice there is. And of course, they have old things or antiquities, as they're called here. When you see the word antiquities, you're basically talking about pieces of art or relics from civilizations from many, many years ago, hundreds or thousands of years ago. Roman, Greek, Egyptian, ancient Chinese antiquities, like you might find find at museums in Beijing or Xi'an or somewhere like that. So really old stuff. Egyptian antiquities makes me think of the time of the pharaohs, right? The time of Cleopatra and Ramses and that. So you'll see lots of that stuff. And then they go right up to modern art, 20th century paintings from the 1900s. So that's great. Lyon's Museum of Fine Arts is one of the city's top attractions. Sounds good, but I'm also kind of thinking I came through Paris to get to Lyon, and in Paris I went to the Louvre Museum, so I saw a lot of that stuff too. They have Egyptian antiquities. They got 20th century paintings in Paris, so yeah, it's a great spot, as the article says, but there are better ways for culture fans to enjoy the city. So I guess we're kind of saying go to the museum, but don't feel like you have to spend 2 days there seeing everything. Branch out a little bit, stretch out a little bit, see some other places.
And there are other ways to enjoy art in the city.
For sure.
Like local art.
Ooh, I like that.
So it says many local artists run special tours helping travelers get a deeper understanding of Lyon's artistic side.
Cool.
So I'm guessing we get to hang out with local artists.
Yeah, and see their art and maybe even bring some home.
Right, and they can show us about Lyon's artistic side, where the artists hang out.
Exactly. What a cool souvenir. You can't bring Egyptian antiquities home from Lyon. No, that's illegal. So you could bring local art, though.
Can I bring the artist home?
If they're really handsome.
Okay. Well, Lyon's artistic side basically just means people that have a natural creative ability, and they use lots of different mediums to try to show their artistry or to show their creative side. So this could be done through artwork, paintings, drawings. It could be done through music, photography. There are so many ways to show your artistic side.
Yeah, absolutely. And we give you some examples here. You can create your own painting as you wander the streets, frame the city through your camera, or receive a private silk printing demonstration. So basically, for any type of art you might like, they have ways for you to engage in it and experience it. You can walk around, paint things. I'm sure you'll see many people by some of the nice churches or bridges sitting there sketching and painting. You can frame the city through your camera, whether it's a fancy camera or you're just really good with your phone camera. Doesn't matter, because if you're taking a picture and kind of doing it in an artistic way, we would often use this word frame as a verb. A frame, you might know, is that sort of border around a painting, that sort of built border, often made of wood or metal, and it's what holds the painting together. It's what we attach the painting to the wall using, a frame and like a wire or a string that stretches behind the frame. And the frame basically just keeps the structure of the painting, the canvas or whatever. It keeps it nice and solid. But we can also use it as a verb to talk about basically creating that picture inside the frame. If you hold up your camera to your eye or through the screen is the frame. So you put it in a place that centers the object you're taking a picture of, and that way when you press the button and snap the picture, it will look its best. You've framed it so well, so nicely in the middle of that square or rectangle shape. And you can also do silk printing. And if you don't know how to do it, don't worry, they have demonstrations.
Right. A demonstration is basically when someone does some sort of activity to try to show how something works or how to do something. So in this case, they would demonstrate or do the activity in front of you, and then maybe you'll get to try it for yourself as well.
That's very cool. Whichever experience you pick, you're likely to return home with some one-of-a-kind creative souvenirs. Sounds like it. One-of-a-kind meaning kind of unique, special. It is one of a kind. There are no others like this one. So that's always nice, especially when you're buying something like that as a souvenir. And a souvenir, this is just a word we use for the types of thing tourists buy to remember the place that they were at, the place that they visited. Souvenir actually comes from the French word to remember. So it's basically something you buy for the memory of a trip or a time or something like that. So you can come home with a very unique little memory of your trip to Lyon.
Okay, well, let's listen to the second part and also our last tip for this article.
4. Bypass the Basilica. Like many European cities, Lyon has its fair share of historic buildings, the most famous being the Basilica of Notre-Dame de Fourvière. But what visitors often forget is that old buildings mean history, and history means ghosts. With that in mind, one innovative tour provider has created a ghost hunting phone app that skips the basilica in favor of various haunted sites throughout the city. As the app guides you around Lyon in search of clues, it provides exciting stories about all the amazing places you visit.
第二部分介绍动词 bypass， 表示绕过或是避开。例如 We had to bypass the damaged bridge to reach our destination. 我们得要绕过毁损的桥梁，才能到达我们的目的地。也可以说 Benjamin bypassed college and started his own business. Benjamin 没上大学就自己创业了。接着介绍动词 haunt， 它指的是鬼魂经常出没或是萦绕不断困扰。在课文中 haunted 为过去分词做形容词，表示闹鬼的。我们可以说 Many travelers are drawn to the haunted castle with hopes of experiencing something supernatural. 许多游客被那座闹鬼的城堡吸引，他们希望能经历一些超自然的事情。也可以说 Tom's memories of the accident haunted him for years afterwards. Tom 对那次事故的记忆在之后的几年里一直困扰着他。
Okay, welcome back. We're going to talk about tip number 4.
Okay.
Bypass the basilica.
I guess.
Bypass? Like to go around something?
Yeah, skip the basilica, basically.
Skip the basilica?
Yeah, I guess that's what they're saying. A basilica is a type of large church. If you've been to Paris, I think you might have been to Montmartre, which is near one of the older districts of France, and there's a hill there, and on top of the hill there's a beautiful church, and that is actually a basilica. So it's just a different type of church. And this is saying skip it, bypass it. When you bypass, it's like you're going around something. If there's been an accident in the city, they might bypass traffic around that area. Or if you're in a place that has something that you're not really interested in, you might say, oh, let's bypass the coffee shop. Everyone goes there. I know a restaurant a little bit further along that isn't so busy or something like that. So you're skipping the basilica, skip the big church. All right, let's find out why.
Okay, like many European cities, Lyon has its fair share of historic buildings, the most famous being the Basilica of Notre-Dame de Fouviers. So this is a really big basilica. I guess you can't really miss it. You'll see it.
It's big.
Yeah, it's big.
Yep.
But I'm sure, just like a lot of European cities, I love looking at these old cathedrals and basilicas and churches.
Sure.
But sometimes, if you don't have a guide to explain, they all kind of look
It's just another big old church, and you've probably seen a lot of those in your time in France.
Okay, but what visitors often forget is that old buildings mean history, and history means ghosts.
Whoa, okay, so we're getting into ghost stories, but of course that will also tell us interesting stories from Lyon's past. So with that in mind, one innovative tour provider has created a ghost hunting phone app that skips the basilica in favor of various haunted sites throughout the city. So if you've sort of reached peak cathedral and basilica visiting, if you're like, one more basilica and I'm gonna get sick, so you might want to skip it. So with that in mind, kind of thinking about skipping the basilica, remembering the fact that this is just another big church, on the topic of missing a basilica or skipping the church, what can you do? Well, one innovative tour provider has created this very cool app. And this app does sound very innovative as well. Something innovative is original. It's new. They're coming up with new inventions. Tech companies are often described as being innovative when they have self-driving cars and things like that, machines that seem straight out of a science fiction book. So anything innovative is kind of cutting edge, the latest technology, the newest discoveries, and probably something you might not have even seen or heard about before. And certainly a ghost hunting phone app is something that I have never heard about or seen before. And it seems to skip the basilica. You might think that there would be ghosts ghosts in the old church, but in fact, there are many more places in Lyon with many more ghosts.
So this took a totally different turn.
It did.
I did not expect this, but basically, if you're really into ghost hunting, you can use this app, and it'll take you not to the basilica, but around other places throughout the city that are haunted.
Ooh,
okay. So when something is haunted, it is usually a place that is very creepy and spooky and scary and suggests that there are ghosts in the place.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Well, whether or not you believe in ghosts, usually a haunted place will seem really creepy and eerie anyway. And also another way that we can use haunted is basically when somebody is really troubled by something well,
a
right?
haunted look.
Right.
Like they've just seen a ghost.
Right, exactly. So haunted is basically just something really negative and it's not really good. It doesn't give somebody a good feeling. But there are adventurers that want to go and seek these places out. So you can see a different side of Lyon by going to these haunted places throughout the city.
And often you'll hear really interesting stories. Often these ghosts are around because of some terrible event in the past. Someone was murdered.
Right.
And apparently now their ghost walks the streets looking for their killer even hundreds of years later. And who knows, if you did this on a dark and foggy night in Lyon, it would be probably quite spooky. Even with the app there to keep you company, you could still probably scare the willies out of yourself. And then run back to the basilica because you need protection from the church, from all the ghosts that are following you around the city now. In this haunted city of Lyon with my ghost hunting app. It says, as the app guides you around Lyon in search of clues, it provides exciting stories about all the amazing places you visit. That's kind of what I like about these ghost tours, is you learn some of the less clean and fun and nice history of a place. You learn about some of the dark secrets and some of the gruesome stories from the past of murder and things like that. So if you have a bit of a strong stomach and you're not easily frightened, this would sound like a wonderful thing to do in the evening. And then you can always go to one of the cafes or the restaurants, have a glass of wine, settle your nerves before you go back to the hotel to try to sleep.
Okay, well, let's listen to the last part of our article and wrap things up before our discussion starter.
Sounds good.
So, why not leave the tourist map behind? You'll discover a hidden side of Lyon and create memories that linger long after you leave.
第三部分最后看到 linger 这个动词的意思是继续存留，也可以是逗留或是徘徊。例如 The students lingered at the restaurant after they finished eating. 学生们吃完饭后在餐厅里逗留。
Okay, so to wrap things up, the last sentence reads, so why not leave the tourist map behind? Why don't we just leave behind what is typical that tourists do, what tour groups do? Just leave it behind. Don't bring it with you when you go on your trip. You can just leave it at home.
There you go. So don't bring it with you. Trust yourself. Talk to the locals. Maybe look up some stuff on the internet. But as it says, if you leave the tourist map behind, if you leave that top 10 list of things you must do or must see, if you don't sort of stick to that religiously, you'll discover a hidden side of Lyon and create memories that linger long after you leave. So you'll see a hidden side of Lyon, the side maybe local people know much more than the tourists know it. It would be kind of nice if you came home and told people you went to Lyon and someone says, I went there, but I never saw any of those things. Or maybe you meet someone who's from Lyon. They say, how did you find out about that? I thought only local people knew about that or went to that place. That would be kind of cool. So you can see this hidden side of Lyon and create memories that linger, that will stay with you long after you leave. To linger is to kind of hang around, to stay with you, to not instantly go away or vanish or disappear. Something of them is left behind in your memories in this case.
Okay, well, we can't linger anymore. We have to listen to our Chinese teacher, Henny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第一部分向爱好文化的人推荐一些享受里昂这个城市的方法。那最后一句有提到，无论你选择哪一种体验，你都可能会带着一些独特的创意纪念品回家。那文中是用 You're likely to return home with 来表达说你可能会带什么什么回家。那这边我们是要来整理 likely 的词性以及常见的句型。首先 likely 它可以当副词，表示可能的。例如 They will likely get married in the near future， 他们可能在不久的将来步入婚姻。那另外 likely 也可以当形容词，表示可能的，表达几率很高。前面还可以加上 more、less 或是 very 等等来修饰可能的程度。我们看看两个常见的句型。第一个是 It is likely that 主词加动词，其中的 that 可以省略不用。例如 It is highly likely that Ross will win the match。 Ross 非常有可能会赢得比赛。那第二个句型是主词 be likely to 加上原形动词。好，那么我们刚刚例句就可以改成 Ross is highly likely to win the match。 好，那我们接着读到课文第二部分的第一句。 Like many European cities, Lyon has its fair share of historic buildings。 和许多欧洲城市一样，里昂也拥有不少历史建筑。那文中用到 fair share， 如果照字面可以直接翻译成合理的份额，公平的分配。那 have one's fair share 是指说得到某人应得的份，之后再接 of something 表示拥有很多什么，遭遇许多什么，那常常是指不好或悲惨的事情。举例来说 She's had her fair share of difficulties over the past few years。 她过去几年遭遇了许多困难。好，我们接着读到课文第三部分的第一句。 So why not leave the tourist map behind？ 所以何不把观光地图抛在脑后呢？那这边我们是要整理一下 leave something behind 或者是 leave somebody behind 的意思与用法。当我们用 leave somebody behind 或是 leave something behind， 这是指留下、丢下或是故意不用什么、抛弃什么。那它也可以表达身后留下了什么东西，可能留下了事迹啊、文物等等。当 leave behind 的受词比较长时，我们可以移到 behind 的后面。好，这边造两个例句。They left their furniture behind when they moved。 他们搬家时把家具留下，没有搬走。He left behind a fortune worth billions of dollars。 他身后留下价值数十亿美元的遗产。好，那么以上今天的重点，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Artistic. The gallery featured an array of artistic creations, ranging from sculptures to paintings. Frame.Mrs. Murray decided to frame the photograph of her family and keep it on her desk. Demonstration. In class today, the teacher gave us a detailed demonstration of how to set up the experiment. Souvenir. Otis bought a t-shirt as a souvenir to remind him of his visit to Tokyo. Bypass. We'll be late for the wedding if we can't find a way to bypass this traffic jam. Innovative.The company plans to introduce its innovative new product at the tech conference. Haunt. The abandoned house is said to be haunted by the ghost of its former owner. Linger. The smell of freshly baked bread lingered in the bakery, even after it had closed for the day.
Discussion starter starts now!
Okay, welcome back. We have a discussion starter. Mike, when you visit new cities, do you prefer to see their most famous attractions or to seek out their hidden sides? Why?
Well, there's lots of good advice in this article, but if it's a new city for me, I generally like to see a city's most famous sights, since those are the things that everyone knows of that place, those are the things that I know of that place, but that would only be for the first few days. Eventually, I would like to branch out and maybe find the hidden side of the city, if at all possible.
That sounds like a good plan too. For me, seeing as I love adventure and I don't like to plan things,
Okay.
I actually prefer to check out a city's less famous attractions just by walking around and see what I find.
Wonderful. I have a ghost hunting app just for you. Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Mike.
I am Kiki.
See you next time.